Imagine a tiny Caribbean island, Curaçao, becoming a World Cup team. It sounds impossible at first. Curaçao was only about 156,000 people. It was a Dutch colony and part of the Netherlands Antilles until 2010, but it isn't even an independent country. It's an autonomous country within the Kingdom of the Netherlands. Dutch flags fly there, and Curaçaoans hold Dutch nationality. In fact, slavery on the island was only abolished in 1863, and it only gained its current autonomous status in 2010. But history left behind a deep bond. Generations of people with roots in Curaçao live in the Netherlands, carrying dual identities. Despite its size, Curaçao kept a national team after the Netherlands Antilles were dissolved in 2010. They took on the Antilles football history and FIFA membership in 2011. For years, they labored in relative obscurity, competing in CONCACAF and Caribbean tournaments. They even won the Caribbean Cup in 2017, beating Jamaica in the final, which sent them to the first ever CONCACAF World Cup. But the real revolution was just beginning. The game changer was the Dutch connection. Because Curaçaoans are Dutch nationals, an enormous pool of players with Curaçaoan roots became eligible. All they needed was the Curaçao passport and the chance to choose the island over the Netherlands. FIFA's rules allow a player who has only played youth or non-competitive games for one country to make a one-time switch to another nation they are eligible for. In Curaçao's case, a flood of Dutch-born players, some of whom had even represented the Netherlands at youth and under 21 levels, opted to switch. FIFA approved these changes in allegiance so the team could pick talent that had come up in top Dutch academies. Suddenly, Curaçao's rosters had names that sound very European. Joshua Brenet, a defender who once played a World Cup qualifier for the Netherlands in 2016, was now wearing the Curaçao jersey. Taif Chong, a former Manchester United teenager, was the only starter actually born on Curaçao. The rest were born and raised in Holland. The team that made history was literally born in the Netherlands, playing for Curaçao, as news outlets noted. In practical terms, the Dutch turned Curaçao into a World Cup contender by unlocking a whole talent pool of overseas islanders. Recruiting from the Netherlands brought firepower. It also drew big names leaders. Before the recent surge, former Dutch stars Patrick Kluivert and Bruce Hiddink even had stints as head coach of Curaçao. They helped raise the island's ambitions, though neither achieved the World Cup breakthrough. The real turning point came with the hiring of 70-year-old Dick Advocaat, a legendary Dutch coach who had led the Netherlands to the 1994 World Cup quarterfinals and managed South Korea in 2006. He arrived in early 2024 and immediately professionalized the setup. According to players, Advocaat instilled a mentality of avoiding defeat at all costs and treated the tiny federation as seriously as a big country's team. The squad itself is a who's who of players from Dutch top clubs or European academies. The Bacuna brothers, Leandro and Juninho, had Premier League experience. Jürgen Locadia had been a high-priced striker in England. Exeter and French youth products like Arjani and Shuren Disambo bolstered the defense. In goal was Eloy Room, who'd been third choice keeper at PSV. Even though they play all over Europe, in England's Championship, Turkey and Saudi Arabia, they came together under the Curaçao crest. For these players, it was a chance to turn a dream into reality. All these pieces fell into place during the 2026 qualifying cycle. Curaçao first dominated the CONCACAF Nations League and Caribbean groups, beating St. Lucia,
Curaçao again, long strides for Marguerite, the cross, Bacuna again!
Aruba,
Gets the ball on his right foot and goal!
Barbados, and even regular qualifier 80.
National teams around the world as this shot attempt is just brilliantly taken.
When they reached the final round, a group with Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, and Bermuda, nobody expected them to top it. But they read through the group. Curaçao won all their home games, including a memorable 2-0 win over Jamaica, where Kenji Gore scored.
Gore cut onto his right. Kenji Gore scores!
On 19 November 2025, football history was made. Curaçao had finished top of the qualifying group, becoming the smallest country ever to qualify for a World Cup by population.
Curaçao have done it! A blue wave is heading to the World Cup!
Smaller even than Iceland, they punch way above their weight. Reuters and AP captured the celebrations. Players and fans in Willemstad were euphoric, virtually cementing the Cinderella story. For Curaçao, an island that once sent a handful of players to Dutch youth squads, it was a seismic achievement. In the end, Curaçao's rise is a story of identity and family. These Dutch-born players represent an island they love but hardly grow up on. By donning the blue and yellow, they've brought global attention to Curaçao culture and history. In June 2026, when Curaçao steps onto the World Cup stage, it will symbolize how a diaspora forge a team that transcends borders. It will remind the world that a small place with a big heritage can stand proud among giants. The Dutch connections, the coaches, the players, the shared nationality were the catalyst. But the heart of this story is Curaçao's own, of belonging, family, and the pride of a tiny nation with a once unimaginable place at football's biggest party. And if you like football stories like this, subscribe for more.